Namo Buddhaya, the large Sutra on perfect wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sūtram, the chapter 11, SIMILES. What to become? The meaning of body being. The lineage of the source of progress. The lineage as such. Subhuti. A bodhisattva is called a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, what is meant by that word? The Lord. Nothing real is meant by the word bodhisattva, and why? Unproduced is enlightenment, unproduced is a being, and so there is no trace of enlightenment or of a being anywhere. That is why nothing real is meant by the word enlightened being. What is meant by the word bodhisattva that doesn't exist, that cannot be apprehended? As the source of heat. Just as in space the track of a bird does not exist and cannot be apprehended, thus is the track of a dream, an illusion, a mirage, an echo, an image and reflection of the moon in water, a village of the Gandharvas, where magical creation does not exist and cannot be apprehended, at the source of the summits. Just as the track of the reality limit of suchness, no falsehood, unaltered suchness, the Dharma element, the established order of Dharma, the fixed sequence of Dharma, the truth doesn't exist and cannot be apprehended. Is the source of passions. No entity corresponding to a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom doesn't exist or can be got at, any more than there exists or can be got at the track of the form, etc., of an illusory man. Is the source of highest mundane dharmas, any more than there exists or can be got at the entity which corresponds to the form, etc., of an illusory man who courses in the 18 kinds of emptinesses, in the perfection, in the applications of mindfulness, etc., to in the Buddha Dharmas. Is the source of the path of vision, any more than there exists or can be got at with regard to the Tathagata, an entity which corresponds to his form, etc., and any more than there exists or can be got at an entity corresponding to the form, etc., of a Tathagata who courses in all the wings of enlightenment, in the powers, etc., in the Buddha Dharmas. An entity corresponding to the word Bodhisattva doesn't exist, just as no trace of the unconditioned element exists or can be apprehended in the conditioned element, or vice versa, is the source of the path of development. Just as that which is meant by such words as non-production, non-stopping, the unaffected and unmanifested, the baseless, non-defilement, non-purification, doesn't exist and cannot be got at, and why? What is meant by the words production, stopping, affected, manifested, basis, defilement, and purification? That doesn't exist and cannot be apprehended. No trace of a real entity corresponding to a bodhisattva exists or can be apprehended, just as no trace of the sign of form, etc., exists or can be got at on account of the absolute isolatedness, just as no trace of the sign of the applications of mindfulness, etc., of the Buddha Dharmas exists or can be apprehended on account of the absolute purity, just as in purity no trace of the self of a being, a soul, etc., of one who sees exists or can be apprehended on account of the fact that the self and its equivalents have no real being. Is the source of the antidote. No trace of a real existent bodhisattva can be found, just as when the disk of the sun has risen above the horizon, no trace of the preceding darkness is either found or got at. Is the source of the forsaking of detrimental states, just as when the universal conflagration at the end of an eon has burned up everything, no trace of any conditioned thing is either found or got at. As the source of forsaking the discrimination between antidotes and harmful states, just as with regard to the Tathagata, no trace of immortality is either found or got at in his morality. no trace of distraction in his concentration, no trace of stupidity in his wisdom, no trace of lack of emancipation in his emancipation, no trace of lack of vision and cognition of emancipation in his vision and cognition of emancipation. Is the source of wisdom and compassion. A real entity corresponding to the word bodhisattva does not exist and cannot be apprehended as one cannot find or get at the track of the light of sun and moon. As the source of the virtues of a bodhisattva not shared with their disciples. The track of the splendor of the planets and constellations, of jewels and of lightning flash. As the source of the successive actions for the welfare of others, of the splendor of the gods from the four great kings to the highest gods and of the bodhisattvas, as the source of the action of the cognition which works without any effort, or of the splendor of the Tathagata. And why? For there, Subhuti, what enlightenment is, what the bodhisattva is, and what the tracks of the bodhisattva are, all these dharmas are neither conjoined nor disjoined, immaterial, undefinable, non-resistant, with one work only, with no mark. A bodhisattva should therefore be trained in non-attachment to all dharmas, and in their unreality, in the sense that he does not construct or discriminate them. In addition, he should understand all dharmas, the objective supports, classes of dharmas, the object in general, Subhuti. What are all dharmas, and how should a bodhisattva be trained in their unreality? How should he understand all dharmas? Lord, all dharmas are the following: wholesome, unwholesome, and indeterminate, worldly and supramundane, with outflows and without outflow, conditioned and unconditioned, common and uncommon. These are called the all dharmas, and bodhisattva should be trained in their non-beingness. There are the all dharmas which a bodhisattva should understand, worldly wholesome dharmas. Wholesome and worldly dharmas are honoring father and mother, recluses, Brahmins, and the elders of the family. The foundation of meritorious work consistent in giving and morality, in meditational development, the one connected with the service, the one derived from material gifts given in faith to the Tathagata. The 10 wholesome ways of action, the 9 worldly perceptions, the perception of a swollen corpse, a worm-eaten corpse, a festering corpse, a bloody corpse, a discolored corpse, a mangled corpse, a scattered corpse, the bones and burned corpse. The 4 worldly trances, the 4 holy, unlimited, and 4 formless attainments, the 5 super knowledges, the 10 worldly recollections, the recollection of the Buddha, of the Dharma, of the Sangha, of morality, of renunciation of gods, of breathing, of that concerns the body, of agitation of death. These are called wholesome worldly dharmas. Worldly unwholesome dharmas. Unwholesome worldly dharmas are the 10 ways of unwholesome actions: taking life, taking what is not given, sexual misconduct, false speech, slander, harsh speech, frivolous talk, covetousness, ill will and wrong views, anger, enmity, jealous, disparagement, contentiousness, harming, envy, meanness, conceit, false pride. Indeterminate dharmas. Indeterminate dharmas are indeterminate deeds of body, speech, and mind, the indeterminate 4 great elements, the indeterminate 5 dominants, the indeterminate 6 sense fields, the indeterminate 4 formless attainments, the indeterminate skandhas, the indeterminate elements, the indeterminate sense fields, and all karma results. Worldly wholesome dharmas. Worldly dharmas are the 5 skandhas, the 12 senses fields, the 18 elements, the 10 ways of wholesome actions, the 4 trances, the 4 wholly limited, the 4 formless attainments, the 5 super knowledges, and except for the supermundane dharmas, whatever other worldly dharmas there are. Supermundane dharmas. Supermundane dharmas are the 4 applications of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of psychic powers, the 5 dominants, the 5 powers, the 7 limbs of enlightenment, the holy eightfold path, the 3 doors of deliverance, emptiness, the signless, the wishless. The dominant of I shall come to understand, the not yet understood, the dominant of understanding, the dominant of one who has understood, the concentration with thought adjusted and discursive, the concentration without thought adjusted and only with thought discursive, The concentration without either thought adjusted or thought discursive. Science, liberation, mindfulness, full awareness, wise attention. The 8 deliverances, the 9 attainments of successive stations, the 18 kinds of emptiness, the 10 powers of the Tathagata, the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges, the great friendliness, the great compassion, the 18 special dharmas of a Buddha. Dharmas without flaws. Dharmas without flaws are the 5 skandhas, the 12 sense fields, the 18 elements, the 4 trances, the 4 holy unlimited, the 4 formless attainments, the 5 super knowledges. Dharmas without outflows. Dharmas without outflows are the 4 applications of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of psychic powers, the 5 dominants, the 5 powers, the 7 limbs of enlightenment, the holy eightfold path, the 4 holy truths, the 4 trances, the 8 deliverances, the 9 attainments of successive stations, the 3 doors to deliverance, emptiness, the silence, the wishless, the 10 powers of the Tathagata, the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges, the great friendliness, the great compassion, the 18 special dharmas of a Buddha. Conditioned dharmas. Conditioned dharmas are the world of sense desire, the world of form, the formless world, and also any other dharmas that are included in the conditioned element. There are 37 wings of enlightenment, etc. Unconditioned dharmas. Unconditioned dharmas are that of which there is no production, passing away, or alteration. Extinction of greed, hate, and delusion. Suchness, non-falseness, unaltered suchness, the true nature of Dharma, the Dharma element, the establishment order of Dharma, the fixed sequence of Dharma, the unthinkable element and reality limit. Common Dharmas. Common dharmas are the 4 trances, the 4 holy unlimited, the 4 formless attainment, the 5 super knowledges. Uncommon dharmas. Uncommon dharmas are the 4 applications of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of psychic powers, the 5 dominants, the 5 powers, the 7 limbs of enlightenment, the holy eightfold path, the 4 holy truths, the 4 trances, the 8 deliverances, the 9 attainments of successive stations, the 3 doors of deliverance, emptiness, singleness, wishless, all concentrations of all Dharani doors, the 10 powers of a Tathagata, the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the 4 analytical knowledges, the great friendliness, the great compassion, and the 18 special dharmas of a Buddha. The objective supports of progress. A bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should not become attached to any of these dharmas, which are empty of own marks, and all dharmas should be understood in accordance with non-duality, on account of their non-discrimination and their non-construction. The program. The greatness of the aspiration to raise all beings to the highest possible state. The meaning of great being, a savior of many. Subhuti. A bodhisattva is called a great being. For what reason is a bodhisattva called a great being? The Lord. He is called a great being because here he will cause a great mass of beings, a great collection of beings to achieve the highest. Subhuti. What is that great mass of beings, that great collection of beings? The Lord. The term a great mass and collection of beings refers to those who have reached the stage of becoming one of the clan, to those who have reached the eighth lowest stage, the stream winners, once returners, never returners, arhats to Pradika Buddhas to Bodhisattvas, great beings who have had their first thought of enlightenment until we come to the Bodhisattvas who stand on the irreversible stage. That is the great mass of and collection of beings which a Bodhisattva will cause to achieve the highest, and he will cause them to achieve the highest after he has produced an adamantine thought. Subhuti. What is the production of an adamantine thought? The Lord. Here a Bodhisattva, a great being, produces a thought thus: after I have in the measureless stream of samsara put on the armor, I should become one who never abandons all beings. Towards all beings should I adopt the same attitude of mind. All beings should I lead to nirvana by means of the 3 vehicles. And even when I have led all beings to nirvana, no being at all has been led to nirvana. And why? I should look through to the non-production and non-stopping of all dharmas. With my thought exclusively set on the knowledge of all modes, should I course in the 6 perfections. Everywhere should I train myself to accomplish the penetration into all dharmas. To the consummation of the one principle of all dharmas should I penetrate, etc., until we come to, for the sake of the penetration, to the consummation of the perfections should I be trained in all dharmas. For the sake of the penetration to the consummation of the unlimited, the trances, the formless attainments, the supernalness of the 10 powers, the grounds of self-confidence, the special Buddha dharmas, this is the production of an adamantine thought by the Bodhisattva, the great being. Supported thereon, he will cause a great mass of and collection of beings to achieve the highest, and that without depending on anything. Furthermore, Bodhisattva, a great being, produces the thought that for the sake of as many beings as feel a painful feeling in the hells among the animals or in the world of Yama, I will feel that same painful feeling. Likewise, a Bodhisattva should produce a thought thus: for the sake of each single being, I will experience for hundreds of thousands of millions of Kotis years the pains of the hells and animal of the animal worlds of the world of Yama, until those beings have won nirvana in the realm of nirvana, which leaves nothing behind. Through this skill in means will I, for the sake of all beings, experience that pain of the hells of the animal world of the world of the Yama, until these beings have won nirvana in the realm of nirvana which leaves nothing behind. Afterwards, I will, for the sake of my own self, know full enlightenment after I have planted wholesome roots for hundreds of thousands of millions of Kotis of eons and become equipped for enlightenment with their manifold equipment. This is a bodhisattva's production of an adamantine thought. Furthermore, in order to achieve the highest for all beings, a bodhisattva should constantly have a sublime thought. The sublime state of his thought consists in that, on account of the first thought of enlightenment, in him no thought of greed is produced, nor of hate, delusion, nor harming, nor a disciple thought, a particular Buddha thought. This is the sublime state of thought of a bodhisattva, by which he will achieve the highest for all beings, but he doesn't put his mind to that thought. Furthermore, a bodhisattva should become one whose thought is unshakable. A bodhisattva's unshakable state of thought consists in his not putting his mind even to the mental activities associated with the knowledge of all modes. Furthermore, bodhisattva should become one whose thought is directed towards the benefit and ease of all beings. The stage of thought which is directed towards the benefit and ease of all beings consists in the sheltering of all beings, in not abandoning them, but he doesn't put his mind to that. It is thus that a bodhisattva coursing in perfect wisdom will achieve the highest for all beings. Furthermore, bodhisattva should have a constant liking for Dharma, a delight in Dharma, fondness for Dharma, devotion to Dharma. What here is Dharma? The unbroken unity of all Dharmas. What is the liking for Dharma? The wish, the eagerness for Dharma. What is delight in Dharma? The pleasure in Dharma. What is fondness for Dharma? The appreciation of its qualities. What is devotion to Dharma? The development, the making much of that Dharma. It is thus that a bodhisattva coursing in perfect wisdom should achieve the highest for all beings, and that without depending on anything. Moreover, a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should achieve the highest for all beings after he has stood in the 18 kinds of happiness, the 37 wings of enlightenment, the powers, etc., to put the dharmas in the concentrations, beginning with the adamantine concentration and ending with the concentration which is like space, unshackled, free and untainted, and all that without depending on anything. Having stood in these dharmas, the bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should make a great mass of collection of beings, achieve the highest. It is for this reason that a bodhisattva is called a great being. This is the end of 11th chapter of the large Sūtram Perfect Wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sūtram.